All right, so we're doing Shar Hatshuva. Eric, hey, remember correctly. And right here it said that the four aspects of the tshuva process could be broken down to many subcategories, but he's going to break each one into 5 for a total of 20. We did Charata, we did Asiva Sachet. And we were up to Bakoshas Haslicha, Bakoshas Mechila. If anyone has the safer, it's on page Kuf Lamed Tes. Ve'enaim Chamisha Pratim Shel Bakoshas Haslicha. These are the 5 subcategories of asking forgiveness. You have to have charata. You have to stop what you're doing, and then the haLevavos has this. Here it's the 3rd, but this added thing that the Rambam doesn't necessarily mention called bakasha slicha. So aleph sheyoyde shechatov sheachatov rabim be'inov u'machshavos. The first part of bakasha slicha is that you have to admit that you sinned. So it sounds like from this that bakasha slicha is part of the what we call vidu, specifically vidu of verbalizing. You have to be moided that you sin. And you should view them. If you have a lot of averis, I guess if you think, oh, I only did one thing wrong, I'm fine everywhere else. So that's a shtickle, sounds like a lack in your humility, maybe. You have to view it like that you did wrong. We'll see. We'll look in the parish in a minute. She asked her sometimes you should be constantly remembering them. You should always have it in front of you. Keep shy any I know my sins, but I say negdi summit, you live with them.
Well, that's a very negative way of looking at things.
It might be a negative way of looking at things, but maybe it's what you got to do.
No, it's like you are going to fail, and you're going to fail a lot. And it's like, how about we're striving for good as opposed to mustering ourselves to death?
How about, well, no one's mustering themselves to death, right? They're being a little hysterical.
No, it's just a charm all over again. It's like, oh, you're nothing and you suck, and just be happy God's there. And like, how about we're like,
I never found Siyas Charm to be that. I don't know who your Rebbe was.
You. I do.
Listen, I have to find all these one very up and very positive. But when we're talking here, yeah, when we're talking here about doing tshuva, so he's saying, and part of it is that you have to ask mechila. If you did something wrong to somebody, and you really feel bad, and you stop doing it, but you didn't go over to him yet and ask him for mechila, so you don't have his mechila, right? You don't have his mechila because he doesn't even know. Maybe it's nice of you. You've done the groundwork. The back. You stop doing it. You feel bad, but you still have to go ask the mechila. And he's saying part of subcategories of asking for slicha is these ideas of what? Of it always being in the forefront. You don't say, okay, I asked shalom, I'm good, goodbye. No, it has to be from your end. The other person we're not talking about. He has to be forgiving, and it should be easy to forgive, and it should be forgiving and forgetting, and whatever, move on. But besides you, it shouldn't just be, oh, I said shalom. I said, I'm sorry. You should live with it. That's what he's saying now. Let's see the other 2 or 3, and then we'll come back. She's Anna. You should fast during the day. We and daven at night. When you have a certain serenity, your mind is available. As it says in Eicha, Kumi Roini Balayla, get up and cry out at night. Hashem. He says later on when we do Sha'avas Hashem Beperik Vav, Avar Be'ezrin Hashem as Hamalish Otila Balaya. There seems to be a specific Maila of Tefillah at night, which he said he'll explain later on. So here also, besides the fact that your mind is clearer and you're not, you don't have like everything going on because the night is a quieter time, especially their time when the lights went out, and then there wasn't much to do. So besides that's the time that you could then focus on this and cry out and daven for forgiveness. It also seems that the night has a certain skula for tefillah. Number 4, she's Chani Elokim. You have to turn to Hashem, beg from Hashem. The Yarber betfillah fun of Tomid Shechap Lavenoisav. Constantly be asking him to forgive you for your averos. V'yislachlei. And that he should forgive you, v'yakabash Chovos, and accept the tshuva, k'mashenema chatosi diacha. V'avoyni loichis, he said, in hide my averos. Amarti oida alei pshai Hashem. I'll admit my pshoim to Hashem. V'atan asosa over in chatosi sel, and you accepted it. You carried. You picked up my avera. This is palko chosid. Elecha leis mitzay. That's all part of the pasuk. Okay, and number 5, she's tamis vishtadel lahazis bnei odam lo'likoshav averis kamoin. That you should also try and strengthen yourself to teach other people that they shouldn't stumble in these averis like you did. And to teach them about that there's punishment for doing averis. It's not hefker. And to remind them that they should do tshuva. I'll teach the sinners your ways, you outreach. Okay, so we got to figure out. What's that?
What's that? The Rebbe gets up and says, "Yeah, I used to do this and this and this, and you shouldn't do it." Like that seems like a very odd conversation.
No. He didn't necessarily say that you have to say, "I used to do this," but when someone is doing, again, I'm not sure why this is all under this category, but this concept on its own, and it is brought, I think it is brought in Shari Tshuva somewhere also. They're part of the tshuva process. When we're talking about really doing a complete tshuva, part of the tshuva process, it's not enough that you cleaned up your act, because part of the tshuva process is realizing I rebelled against HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Okay? If it doesn't bother me that other people are doing wrong, if that doesn't bother me, then that's lacking in my appreciation of an avera and what, right? If it doesn't bother, let's say with a boss of a dom and a regular king, right? If let's say you follow all the laws, but it doesn't bother you that other people are rebelling, so on a certain extent, doesn't bother you that the king doesn't have honor. So you're also guilty there of something. If this is your king, and you have to respect him, and other people don't, should be an issue. So when I'm doing tshuva on my averos, part of it is it should bring me to think about and try to help other people also do tshuva and better their ways. Let me just take a quick look here, please, and see how he relates to these things. So we said Perek Chamishi.
You said, sorry, like, there's no shear on Sunday or Monday, right?
Unless we get Robert Ganowski on board. Is he back? He's back, right?
No, he's not back, but he,
Oh,
like,
still
what,
back.
there's
He's saying the
the
shear.
alumni shear's on Sunday, but you said that you won't be around Sunday, no?
I won't. Sunday and Monday.
All right.
So I'm saying maybe he could say the shear.
I'd love it.
They ask him.
That's the goal.
Okay, just 1 minute. Why am I not finding? Okay. Cautious Machilo. Oh, so he Taka points out, "Ki vidui bakosha samachila kshurim bagudim zeh b'zeh." The idea of vidui and asking for machila are really like they go together. So when he says on top that one of them is that you're misfadi averis, and when you do vidui and you're saying you're sorry, it's there's something lacking in the sorry. If you say yeah, but in your mind you're saying, but I did, it wasn't so terrible. Right? Then it's you're sorry is a shvacha sorry. You know, you're saying I'm sorry, please forgive me, and inside you think it's not so terrible. So the first time is when you ask for mechila, you have to take it very seriously, right? You have to really appreciate how serious, and the more you appreciate how serious the aver is, the better is going to be your tshuva. Qualitative, it's going to be a better tshuva, the shari tshuva, therefore writes the Shar Shlishi, which is the bulk of the Sefer by far, right? It's the 3 out of there's 4, but 4 Sharim. But the Shar Shlishi is that he categorizes each Avera. Rabbanon, Mitzvahs Essay, Mitzvahs say, Shein by Mice, Mitzvahs Yesh by Mice, right? Malchus. In order that you have to know the severity, you have to know what you did wrong. You have to know what you did wrong, and you have to know the severity of it. And when you do, let's say, you transgress a mitzvah essay or losa say shame by it is less than an avera that there's chorus for. So, but when you're doing vidui and you're saying you're sorry, you have to appreciate. It has to be a serious. I'm sorry. And part of a serious I'm sorry is I understand I did something seriously wrong. And if I think I didn't do something seriously wrong, then my sorry isn't a very strong I'm sorry. And therefore, he's saying that one of the aspects of asking for mechila is that in my eyes, this has to be that I did a serious thing. And he explains here also what he said here, that I should view like I did a lot of events. It shouldn't look like I did a little. I should view what I did as, again, it's all part of being a real of in my mind. Again, Ron.
Yeah.
I may have said this over once, but I said for many years, in Musar, in our David, we learned Charity for many years, and it was all very good until 1 year, where I don't know I don't remember what year it was, but they said maybe we learn something else because this is depressing.
The what?
Right? Because they said this is depressing, like you just said, right? And I said to them, of course, they didn't want to learn it, so I learned something else. But I said, it's not depressing because it's telling you how you're fixing. It's not telling you you're going to Gehenna. It's saying this is the way you're not going to go to Gehenna. This is the way you're not going to burn. But it's teaching us that if you want to better your ways, you got to take it seriously. And you have to really take seriously what you did wrong. And by doing that, you're going to have tshuva. So we're not saying view it as if you did wrong and therefore you're a loser and forget it and you're going to rot. No. Appreciate how serious you did wrong and that should be part of your tshuva process. I realize how bad it is to go against HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and I'm really, really sorry. That's part of the sentence, and I'm really, really sorry. And the result is you're really, really forgiven. So it's a very up type of sefer. Tshuva is all about fixing things, right? And all he's saying is that if you don't take it seriously, you did wrong. You and don't forget with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you can't play games. He knows what's going on in your mind. If it's not serious, you can't fool him. And why should he forgive you if you didn't really think you did something so wrong? Because if anything, because it says he didn't get punished. All right. Look, Hashem's a ish chesed, not a ish chesed. He's chesed, so it could be you will be forgiven to a great extent. But what all we're learning here is that part of when we do this aspect of the true process, you have to be very serious. You have to realize it's very serious. You did do something very wrong. And yes, we learned the other day. Yes, part of my charata is because I realized, wow, I'm going to be punished. This is serious. I have to really regret what I did. I did something very wrong. But by doing that, I'm going to be forgiven. And that's why it is not depressing, at least not to me.
I think a
Um,
lot of people have issues with Mussar in general, because they're uncomfortable with the concept of, having to change, having to critically look at themselves and say to themselves, oh man, oh boy, oh boy.
Not that
And
I'm not.
then,
Yeah.
now I'm not saying you in general. I'm
No,
saying in
I hear what
general,
you're saying. I hear what you're saying. I think there's no book in Jewish lore that says, "Wow, you're doing a great job." It's always coming from a negative perspective,
you think
right?
so?
Yeah. What
really?
job saying, "Wow, you guys are doing great.
So I
Look
got
how
a question.
wonderful. Look all the chesed you did." No, there's no book like that. It's all like you're doing bad, do better.
Not
I never found that. So I have to give it some thought. I want to think of what you're saying. You made a very broad statement. There's no book, right? As if you are an expert on all the books. I'm
No,
reading this.
no
I'm
mainstream
reading.
book.
I'm reading this safer, this like biography about this secret Gadol who was in Baltimore. When he died, he had 7,000 sperm, and obviously that's not all the sperm that have been written. So to say that there isn't any one book, but okay.
Mainstream. Okay, I apologize. Mainstream. Like they're on Yom Kippur, like the Al Hate lists. One year someone wrote a mirror version of it, and it's like we have been good, we have been charitable, we have the things like because there's always such a negative view. And like Yom Kippur is like you did wrong. Like where's the merits coming out? Like where's the like wow we actually accomplished something. You know what I'm saying? That's where the Musar books are coming from. Hey, it's Yom Kippur for me next week, so you know what? Fine. But
I might tell you something, Ron. When's
uh-oh,
the
here
wedding? When's the wedding?
Tuesday. You're coming, aren't you?
I'm planning on it, but it's good you're telling me because I think
Oh
I
yeah.
didn't write it down. Tuesday, this Tuesday? Sunday,
Rosh
Monday,
Chodesh.
Tuesday? Rosh Chodesh?
Yeah.
Goodness. You still have that invitation?
I said 3 times.
No, you sent it a long time ago. You
Okay,
gotta
I'll
send it again.
again.
Okay. Wow.
Where's the chuppah?
What?
I said, where is the crash the chuppah?
Yeah.
It's in the forest somewhere.
It's in the forest. America's Sipori.
Oh, it really is in the forest.
Yeah, I sent it to you again. Yes, it's in
Okay.
the forest. It is
Oh, you
lovely
mentioned that.
there. And cheap. What?
All right. In any case, listen, I have to, Ron, I have to work on relating on what you're saying because I never had these feelings, even on Yom Kippur. I didn't have a feeling that I'm saying I'm no good, and it would create years, right? Because I always felt I'm doing tshuva by saying I'm fixing things because that's the halacha. You have to have regret, and Yom Kippur is a day for fixing. It's a day of fixing. Right? It's a day of joy. When
It's
the
happiest day of the year.
Kohen Gadol came out of the Kodesh Kadoshim and they saw that the red thing turned white, they made a whole party and they were full of simcha. It's a day of joy.
I'm not talking about Yom Kippur itself. I'm talking about in general. Like,
I'm saying, but the process is not of beating yourself down. That's the point. The process is not of beating yourself down. It's appreciating that I did something wrong. It doesn't mean I'm a bad person. That's a step that you're taking. You don't have to take. I did a lot of wrong things. They say in chinuch, you shouldn't say your kid, shouldn't say to your son, you're a bad boy. You should say you did something bad. You shouldn't say you're a gamer. Because then you're labeling him and he'll internalize. You say you took something that you shouldn't have taken. So on Yom Kippur, I'm not saying I'm a bad person. I'm just saying I did bad things and I really regret them. And by focusing on them, I'm coming to appreciate how serious they are. And therefore I could really do the tshuva process. I could really turn to Hashem and say, I can't believe I did this. Please forgive me. I'm not doing it again. It's unbelievable. I went against even if theoretically tshuva says, it's like a small, so to speak, a small avera. Who commanded me not to do that avera? So it's big. I went against the God, but that doesn't make me bad. It means I'm realizing that I have a lot to fix, and I'm appreciating it, and I'm asking to be forgiven. And then at Yom Kippur, you're clean, and it's a party, and there's a didn't have a suda even. Matziyim. So it's all mindset.
And also, it's also when you take a look at Musar in a vacuum, you'll also see that, right? In the beginning of the Musar movement, there were a lot of opponents to Musar, a lot.
Right.
We've come along. Now, bear in mind, you also have to put the full background to it, right? As Yidden, we're different, okay? So we are the chosen people, right? And our expectations of ourselves are different. And we also know our end goal is Olam Haba, right? So we're in a spot here where we have a couple of minutes to grab as many mitzvahs as humanly possible and to refine ourselves as best as we possibly can. I'm going to use that word refine, right? We have to take ourselves, what we have, and there is no expectation that we're perfect to begin with. So you have these two counterbalancing forces. You have, the learning you do, the chesed you do, and, on the other hand, you're exposed to the world. So enter Musar to give you the contrapull in the direction that you need to be pulled in order to continue refining yourself in the environment that you're in. So sure, if you remove all the other external factors, of doing mitzvahs and learning and gemilas chesed and everything else, then yeah, Musar by itself is like, wow, you're going straight to hell. But it's a counterbalance to everything. I don't know if that makes sense, but
I hear you're saying it's maybe it's perhaps the way it's marketed.
There you go. I was just going to say, Ron, it's funny. Did you ever look at a self-help book and say this is depressing? Or no, it's self-help. It's I don't know. It's I forgot the word, but it's energizing, right? Muslims are all energizing. They're self-help books. There are ways I could grow. There are ways I can fix myself. There are ways I can get close to God. And like Nassim, what's your name? Nassim, right?
not on.
Not that. Oh, I'm sorry, right. That's why it didn't sound right. Okay.
That's
That's what I'm
yeah.
not going to say. If you just look at it, on its own as something, you could say, oh, wow, this is depressing. But if you look at it, no, these are all the tools. When the fixer man comes with his box of tools, you could say, oh, this is depressing. Or you could say, look, he has all the tools here to fix the plumbing. And I'm going to have good plumbing. So I get depressed because I realize what the bill is behind it. But I'm just saying it's all self-help books. It's all positive things, ways that I could maximize myself, better myself. But true, it is. We are physical creatures and we slip and stuff. But if we didn't have the Muslims farm, then we would be depressed. The Shari Tshuva says that at the beginning. If we wouldn't have the Tshuva, Hashem didn't give us this gift of Tshuva, we'd be lost because it's quicksand. You didn't have better, you can't better yourself. And the truth is, it's the miracle of Tshuva that you could change the past. And you did something and you could do Tshuva. And then as far as you're concerned, you went like Hashem, it's as if you didn't do it. Right? So without Tshuva, without a Shari Tshuva, I should be depressed. Because I do slip and I do wrong. And I can't fix it. And I blew it. I'm how much blew the job. Right? And Shari Tshuva comes and these folks come and say, you don't blow the job at all. Let's get to work. Let's fix it. Okay, Rabbi Yisai. So I guess I'll reach out to Reganovsky on WhatsApp him and ask him if he could do Sunday and Monday. All right. And I